So Ari is bland as hell, but the way that he is chopping these ladies, let me tell you something, he's giving us a show. Let's get into this review. So why is Baby Bekah's age an issue, but not Maquel's? Like, everybody keeps on saying that, oh, she's 14 years younger than Ari, she's so young, she doesn't know, she hasn't lived. But nobody is saying anything about Maquel, who is a year older than Baby Bekah. And also, some of the girls there are like 20. I get it. 26 is not 22. Big difference, right? But to make it seem like it's such a huge age difference, which it is, but I don't know why they're doing it with just Baby Bekah, you know what I mean, and not Maquel. There are a lot of girls who are in their 20s, right? But nobody's making a big deal about that. They're only focusing on Bekah, and I think it's unfair. If anything, you should, you know, put your frustration towards production or casting, because they hired her knowing that she was 22. So that's where your anger needs to be, and not at the girl who you're just mad at because she's alive at 22 and in the same competition as you. It just seems really petty how they're trying to make this huge thing about her age. It is a huge age difference. I just feel like the treatment that she's getting because of it is unfair. All right, ladies, you're going to meet Ari, who has already left the building because he's in Tahoe. Awesome. So our girl, CN, gets a one-on-one date, and I'm really excited. But what throws me off is that the girls have already counted her out. They're like, oh, she's not going to come back. There's no spark between them. I don't see it working. And I'm like, why do they count her out of all people? They haven't counted out Jacqueline, but they want to count out CN. It's just really weird to me, and I did not like it because there wasn't really anything that I felt that we received as viewers, or maybe I received something else within the house, but I'm just saying I really didn't see anything that would make me think that he would send her home. If anything, he feels like she's too good for him. Like, he mentions it a lot. He mentions her education a lot. He mentions the fact that she's well-traveled. So he's intimidated by her mind. He's also very attracted to her, and I did not get that he would send her home, but the ladies counted her out. Crazy Crystal is starting to take shape, and I'm here for it. So, yes, I was hating on the selection of Tahoe, but seeing this date with Ari and Cien, it looks really cool, like parasailing in Tahoe, and they have like this little lunch by the water. Okay, I could do that. That was cute. That was cute. I was hating on Tahoe for a second, but I think I might have to take myself a little romantic trip up there by myself. I'm single because I want to be. Again, I am rooting for you as the Bachelorette, but please, honey, do not try to convince us that you are falling in love with Ari. It's not working. We don't believe you. This is why I like Cien for Ari. I feel like I get a different version of him when he's with her. He opens up to her. We learn a little bit more about him. He smiles, you know what I mean? Like, he has some kind of life, some kind of spark. I feel like he has the same kind of reaction with Bekah, Baby Bekah, but it's more physical. It's more of a physical attraction. But I think with him and Cien, there's actually, I don't know if there's something there, because I have to admit I did not see a spark on this date, but I feel like he wants to be better when he's with her. I don't know. I just think he's just different. Like, when he's on the one-on-ones with different ladies, he's very muted, very dull, very Ari. But when he's with like Cien or Baby Bekah, or who was another girl that he went on? I liked how he switched up with Brittany. I don't know. I just feel like certain TT, she pulls things out of him. There are certain women who get a reaction out of him. And I feel like if you're getting a reaction out of a very muted Ari, then there's something there. So I was watching this date with Ari and Cien, and I noticed that when he went in for the kiss and when they actually made out, I wasn't bothered by it, right? And I had to think to myself, why isn't this kiss bothering me? Because I don't like when he makes out with women on this show. I don't like the weirdness of it. It's just very uncomfortable for me, and I've mentioned it in other reviews. But when I was watching it, I was just like, I'm not bothered by this. Why not? And as I began to ponder, I realized that I'm not bothered by it because this is how I would like to be kissed. And then I was like, whoa, what? I want to be kissed like that? What's going on, right? So then I started thinking back to his dates prior, especially the dates where he made out with certain girls on the show. And I thought back to the ones that bothered me and the ones that I was not bothered by. And I realized this. Ari kisses black women differently then he kisses white women. I haven't seen him kiss Marek, so I don't know if it's just like a woman of color thing. But I've noticed that he knows how to code switch. And then that leads me to believe he's been here before. Well, Ari. I might have misjudged you. Work. I feel really bad for Maquel. That's really, really hard to get information like that, especially when you're on the TV show and they're filming your reaction. And I bet you she probably had like a real breakdown away from the cameras and maybe on the car ride to the airport, because it's just kind of awkward. You get this news and then this camera is following you around while you're like dealing with the fact that you will never see somebody that you've loved ever again. And so that sucks. That was really hard to watch, you know what I mean? I noticed that a lot of people were saying they don't know if she was going to come back, and I hope that she doesn't. I don't feel like a TV show is where someone who has lost somebody or is still in the mourning process should be. I feel like, especially in this Bachelor environment, there's a lot of manipulation going on. There's a lot of playing with the minds of the contestants. And I just don't think that she would be in that state of mind to handle basically this game show, to be honest with you. Like, the prize is a husband and a deal with People magazine. So I don't want her to come back. I want her to get herself together. I want her to mourn her grandpappy properly. And then I want her to go on The Bachelor in Paradise and shine, because that's where she'll shine. I think that is a place for a lot of the women who have been rejected or have left this show, The Bachelor. I think The Bachelor in Paradise will be really, really good for them. Or maybe, no, she's not going to be on. Yeah, she's not going to be on the Winter Games. I think that's too soon for her, but I think she will shine in Paradise. So Crystal has this demonic smile that she gives every woman that Ari takes on a one-on-one date or shows any kind of affection to. And it's just like really weird. I can't even do it. It's like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Her mouth turns up and her eyes get big. It's so weird, because when Baby Bekah got the one-on-one date with Ari, Crystal like zeroed in on her, and then she did like this smile with a smile where it's so scary. So we cut back to CN and Ari, who is still on like their date. I think when he does a one-on-one, he takes them for like the whole day. Anyway, they're still on their date, and she's giving him the typical reality TV sob story. There's nothing wrong with that. That probably is not probably. I think this is her story. This really happened to her, right? And she's right. I do agree with her that Black women, Black girls in particular, we don't get to see ourselves in fairy tales. So as a child, yes, it is kind of hard to see yourself having a fairy tale ending, because normally the princess in the movie or in the books is white. So I get it. I totally understand. However, when you're on a reality TV show, or you're on TV or in media in general, it's sad, but it's the truth. When you're from a marginalized community, you have to represent your entire community. You know what I mean? So if you're a gay character on the TV show, the whole gay community is like looking at you to be properly represented. And I feel very unfortunate for CN, the same way I felt for Rachel, because you just can't be yourself on this show. So when she's saying this sob story, I'm like, I get it. I really, really do get it. But I wish she just would have put in that she did have some good things happening to her, right? Because it makes it seem like we all have these tough lives. She doesn't think that she's worth anything because she couldn't see herself in media. And that stuff hurts. It really, really does. I'm not going to sit up here and say that it doesn't take an effect. I'm not going to sit up here and say that we do not experience mental trauma from microaggressions and racism and, being a woman, sexism and poverty and redlining communities. All of that stuff takes a hold of you, right? I just wish it wasn't her story on this show. It is her story. It is who she is. But they take one thing, especially when it's somebody from a marginalized community, and they make it your whole story. Because even in her date with Ari, when he gives her a rose, it was beautiful. I love their date. I love their conversation, although I didn't feel like there was much of a spark there. I still don't feel a spark. I love their conversation though, and I love their date. It was really, really beautiful. But Ari gives her the rose, and it's like this special moment, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you're getting the rose. All them heifers back home thought you wasn't coming back. And then he says, I understand that you've never seen a woman who looked like you have a fairy tale ending. But I hope that this rose shows you that maybe we could have that fairy tale ending. And I just thought to myself, out of that whole conversation, the only thing you picked up on was the fact that she said, oh, princesses don't look like me, so I don't think I could ever have a fairy tale ending. Like nothing else. Nothing else, but all you picked up on was her plight, and that's the thing that bothers me, because I feel like, especially with black people, black Americans on American TV shows, especially when it's reality TV, they focus on, oh, they came from the hood, or they had this kind of struggle because they were black. It's true. It's not all of us, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much more to us than that, and I wish she would have never given him that, because I feel like when she gave that out, that was something that production was just going to clog onto and just be like, let's talk about how this poor, unfortunate black girl from a terrible family was able to go to Yale and travel the world. I don't know. I just feel like there's so much more to CN. And I feel like they're giving her the same kind of cuts and edits that they gave, the black men on The Bachelorette. It was like, oh, I'm a lawyer, but I grew up in the hood and people died in front of me. Oh my gosh, that happens, okay? Not all of us. It's just, I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, but I just wish that I wish that she would have just explained more about her life and, because she did say how she was in love before. Talk about that. Be like, I don't know. And again, she can't be an individual, and that sucks. Because I was also watching it expecting more, because I'm seeing myself in this situation, and because I'm not represented a lot. This is getting deep. Let's move on. Like, it was a great date. I was cheesing the whole time. I just don't want CN to become a charity case. That's all. Don't give her the rose because you want to give back to the community. Give her the rose because you wanted to be your wife. I feel like these dates are being repeated, because although I love this date with Ari and CN, and I loved his other one-on-one dates prior, I hate his group dates, but the one-on-one dates are beautiful. But I feel like I've seen this ending of a date before from Ari. And I think I've seen it on The Bachelorette as well, because like at the end of the date, Ari takes her into some concert hall, and there's this dude with a guitar yodeling. I don't know why he thought to bring the black woman to a yodeler, but anyway, he's yodeling, and then he picks her up and they start like dancing or whatever, and the crowd is cheering. And I'm like, I think I've seen this before. Didn't he give the same date to Crystal? The same like happy ending to Crystal? But just there was no people in the audience? And didn't Rachel do this with Dean? Is this like a Bachelor thing? Like a Bachelor Nation thing where they have to like go on dates where people are like singing to them? It was cute, but I was like, I've seen this before. Get original production. Get original. Did you see how he kissed her? Code switching. I see you, Ari. Oh, Kendall, you saucy little minx. I caught that Bekah K shade. Remember when I said I hated the group dates? This is why. So the rest of the ladies get a group date. Sans Baby Bekah. And the first thing that they have to do is like, they have on like this hiking gear. And then one of the first challenges is to pee into a canister for Ari. The ladies were just like, a lot of them were afraid that they like, if they didn't do it, something would happen to them. So they're like, nervously peeing in a canister. And then there's Jacqueline, who was just like, I did this before at a Bonnaroo festival, give me this, and just like pissed and was about to drink her own like Jacqueline. No shade, I don't know how she made it this far. This girl is rough, and not rough in the sense of look. She just gives me crunchy, like real granola type chick. I just don't know how or why she was picked for Ari, who does not give me crunchy granola, none of that. He does not give me that at all. She gives me South Philadelphia gentrifier from Seattle. So Ari and Kendall ate maggots and then made out. Sweet. This group date is not terrible. It's horrid. It's the worst date I've ever seen on this show. Because not only are these ladies pissing in canisters, it's snowing, their weaves are getting messed up, their bundles are like scrunching and drying, their eyelashes are freezing off, makeup contour is just pouring down their face. It's a hot mess. The only one who was able to survive this is Kendall and Jacqueline. The previews last week made me believe that Crystal was going to come in and be like this super villain, but she seems to be cracking this episode, which was not what I expected. Like, anytime a woman gets any kind of affection or, you know, takes Ari away, or just anytime she's around the women, she starts to have like a mental breakdown about how she can't handle it. She's so much better than them. And then they don't like her because she's so much better than them. And I just didn't expect that from her. I thought that she was going to be a lot stronger than that. And I thought that she was going to orchestrate some kind of takedown, but it's not happening. I feel like the only person she's taking down this episode is herself. But I don't know why she's breaking down. Ari is really into her. She does not have to do anything for his affection. Guys, she may win. She may win because they're giving her the crazy edit, but Ari, his reaction to her, he's not picking up on it. Crystal, not only are you delusional, you are also hella forgetful, because you're sitting here making these comments about the women about how they're all over Ari and they're looking really desperate. Like, you weren't just stalking him last week. Excuse me, can I steal him for a second? Excuse me, can I steal him for a second? You were doing that 2 episodes ago, or maybe an episode, whatever. You were doing that. That's how you were able to get to this position with Ari. And then, honey, you're also on a show called The Bachelor, where women are chosen to compete for the affection of a bachelor. Like, these ladies are doing what they're supposed to do, and you're getting mad that they're not stepping aside and letting you have time with your man? Girl, wake up. Ari. Baby, why do you keep on missing these cues? Did you see him try to kiss Lauren and then she like turned her head and he got her cheek? Why does he keep on missing cues? So Ari likes an independent woman. He wants to have a partner that he can cheer for just as much as the partner is cheering for him. Like, he wants equality in his relationship. That surprised me, and I feel like I'm starting to like him. Ah! Don't get mad. But I was just like, oh my goodness. This is the thing. He's growing on me, okay? From the code switching and kissing to now he wants, like, you know, this equality in his marriage. Okay, Ari. Okay. What's happening? Kendall and Ari have no chemistry. Zero chemistry. Even their kisses are awkward. I feel like she's only here because the producers want to keep her on with this whole taxidermy mess to keep it interesting. And also because Ari thinks that she's a hoot. Like, he laughs at her all the time, like when they're on their dates. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be able to laugh with your partner, but I feel like he's laughing at her and not with her. Chelsea's impersonation of Crystal was spot on. Like, I was watching that in tears. I had to pause it and go back because it was so good. Okay, Chelsea, I told y'all she's an actress. Now I figured it out. Crystal is the lead of this season. She's lying, manipulating, getting in people's head, trying to make people fight with her, then going to Ari and telling him all of these lies about the women. When I was watching her in her one-on-one with him, I was just like, this seems so very familiar, this kind of game. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, Crystal is Lee. Girl, why would you want to follow after that garbage of a man? TT has had a few drinks, and let me tell you something. Cute TT has left the building. Mother is lit, and she has no filter. She cannot stop cussing. I was just like, get the champagne away from TT, because she was cussing up a storm. And even when she got with Ari, she was cussing. But I will say this. The way she read Crystal, I was pleasantly surprised and pleased. Bravo, TT. Bravo. Okay, TT, CN, I don't believe that you are falling for Ari. Like, she's, oh, I just think that I might be falling in love with him. Girl, no, you're not. You have not had enough time. You have to, I feel like with Ari, you have to be with him for years to get him to open up and really get to the core of who he is, because we have no idea who he is. And you don't spend as much time with Ari as we, the viewers, do. So I know you don't know who he is as a person. So there's no way that you can be falling in love with him. So I feel like this is what's going to happen for the remainder of these episodes. The women are going to start saying that they're in love with Ari, and it's going to get under my skin because, come on, who are you playing? My mother, who has never watched this show before, was watching it with me. She's in school, so she was actually supposed to be studying, and she was on her computer, and she looked in front of the computer, and she was just like, Those women don't like him. Ain't none of those women on this show here for him. They're here for the cameras. She's never watched this show. She doesn't know anything about the formula, but she called it. We see right through it, guys. We see right through it. TT got the date rose and Crystal's head almost exploded. She did that weird demonic smile again. I was just like, oh gosh, TT, watch your back, because Crystal was coming. ARI and Baby Bekah. This date, I have to be honest, and I'm not coming at your age, girl, but it looked like a daddy-daughter date to me. It just... I was just like, Ari then found his child that he fathered when he was 15. And he's trying to make up time with her on this day. It just, especially when she was on a pony and he got her off, I was like, oh, they look like a really cute daddy-daughter. Sorry. So just... And you know what? Maybe it's how they were filming it. Maybe the producers did that to make it look like that, because that's what it looked like to me. Next to Ari, she looks very young. I know she's 22, but that's, you know, that's not a kid, right? But just next to Ari, who has lived, she looks very young. Let's get into their date, because a lot of tea was dropped in this date. So Ari in his confessional is talking about, and I respect him. I like him. Oh gosh, what is going on? I'm sorry, Peter. But he was talking about how he is attracted to her physically. And I was just like, thank you, Ari. I didn't think that he would say that, but that's what I've been saying since I've been watching this show, since I've been doing these reviews for this season. He is attracted to her physically because they don't talk about anything. And even when they do talk, they're talking about like sexual stuff. It's always like sensual. I can make up for my age in other areas. It's always very sexual. They're always making out. She's always grinding on him. That's how I felt about Brian and Rachel. I didn't feel like they really got to know each other because they just had so much sexual chemistry. They were always doing something like making out, riding. I mean, it was a lot. They barely talk. And that's what I feel like is happening with Ari and the good doctor, because they're not having conversations. And this is the first time that they're having conversations, and this is the first time he's finding out all of this stuff about her. And they've been on, like, is this their first one-on-one? I think they've had a lot, to me, from what I've seen, I feel like they've had a lot of time together, but they've never talked. It's always been a makeout session. Baby Bekah, I love a hoop too, sis. It's not for every occasion. 22. Boy, she looks 16. Stop. Ari is changing the game. He came back and he was just like, I know who I want. Let's cut the cocktail party and let's get to the rose ceremony. I like him. I feel like at this point, production needs to house Crystal somewhere else because the ladies are over her and and they just keep on getting tighter and tighter and tighter in their hate for Crystal. So I feel like she needs to be housed somewhere else for she physically don't make it to the next rose ceremony. And then she steals Ari at the rose ceremony and tries to like get into his head. But girl, if he wasn't thinking about cutting you before, he damn sure is now, because why would you act so unhinged? Like, it's weird because I am very sure in Ari's like for her. I don't think she is now. I don't know what changed. I don't know what we're not seeing. But I'm like, girl, you don't have to worry. He is into you, Ma. He is into you. We, the viewers, don't know why, but he is into you. You're safe. So Ari dishes out the roses and Crystal gets the final rose. That wasn't a shocker to me. The shocker was the fact that Jacqueline still made the cut. How is this girl still here? I don't get it. I don't see them together at all. I've never seen him talk to her. So I just don't understand. I was hurt that Brittany left because I liked them two together, but I wasn't shocked. She didn't get enough time with him. And I felt like she just became sort of a shrinking violet. Like she just fell back for some reason. And I don't know. I just don't think they had enough time to develop a real spark. I thought that they were cute in the beginning. I love when he got her that award when she got hurt, and I wish she would have went out for him a bit more. She seemed really hurt when she got cut, and that's unfortunate. But girl, this is a game. You got to get in where you fit in. You got to fight for this dude. Everybody else is. Why not you? Okay, why is Chelsea getting into it with all the girls and she doesn't know? She doesn't know why, because when Marek pulled her to the side and said that she was glam shaming her, I hollered, because Chelsea's face was like, what? And then her explanation, I was in tears. But glam shaming is real. I once had a traumatic experience with a glitter dress. I don't want to get into it. Clam shaming is real. So that's where it ends. But before we close out, I have some final thoughts. ARI is growing on me. He really, really is. Like this episode alone, I like how he is really looking for a wife. Like, I believe him. I do believe him. He keeps on mentioning that he's slowing down. He keeps on mentioning that he's been through this before and now he's ready. Like, I believe him. I'm not saying that I didn't believe Rachel or the dudes on her season, but I felt like there was just more TV magic there. But with this Bachelor in particular, I believe him. He has me convinced. Also, Baby Bekah is growing on me. I've never had any issues with her, but I didn't put her in my top 5 because I didn't really see it for her. And she's still not in my top 5, although my top 5 was destroyed this episode. But I don't think that she's going to last very long. However, I think that Crystal is going to leave before she does, because it seems like next week they gonna rally together to get Crystal out of here. But those are just some of my thoughts. My top 5 is destroyed, so I have to go back and do some more research on the girls and see who I think are going to go the distance. What I like about this Bachelor is that I just don't know what he's going to do, and for me, that's good TV. So I'm going to go back to my top 5 and figure it out. But let me know if your top 5 changed this episode or if they're still intact. Let me know in the comment section below. And I will see you next week for the following episode of The Bachelor.